Hey, good morning. Yes, it is. It is Thursday, July 11th. So, I appreciate all the feedback. You know, I just don't want everybody to kind of tune out because they're tired of listening to me. And Peter, you're right. If you call me and want to go out for coffee, you'd see the same person you're looking at right now. I am who I am. I'm too old to be somebody that I'm not. Oh well. But today I thought, because you had brought it up in a way that caught my eye, and that is, you know, why it's not good to work on the side on a business if you're employed doing the same thing. I know I'm going to hear some feedback, but stay tuned and listen to my take. Alrighty, so welcome back. Yes, it is. It is Thursday, July 11th, and this is the weekday. What are we talking about today? We're talking about when I tell you, you know, if you're looking to get into business for yourself, start a side hustle type thing where you're working nights and weekends. Whatever you do, don't do what you're doing at work now. Do not compete against your employer. Some won't say a peep, but others, yes. And here's why. We ran into this early on, and we have to remind customers from time to time of what's kosher and what's not. And that is training your customers. Now, you're going to have customers that think, well, look, Eric charges $55 an hour in the shop, but if I take it directly to Claude, maybe I can get him to do it for like 25. And don't sit there and kind of, oh, come on. This has happened before. And if Claude wasn't the way he was, he wouldn't be working for me. Clear and simple. You don't shit where you eat. And that means if you're getting a paycheck from an employer doing small engine repair, why would you take his business and bring it to you and then think you're still going to get a paycheck at work? You see what I'm saying? Some people will say, well, that's why I want to start a small engine repair shop, because it's something I enjoy doing, and I'm doing it for a living right now under somebody else, but I want to start my own. Well, one of two things that got to happen. One, quit the repair shop that you're working for. Or two, go talk to the owner and explain what you're doing. If they're kosher with it, fine. But what ends up happening is, and I never did anything where I have to look over my back. When I was younger, maybe, but everything I do so that I know that I don't have to look over my back. And I'm not doing anything that's wrong, that I know of is wrong. And honestly, if you were a mechanic worker for me and you come to me and you said, look, I'm trying to start a small engine repair business. And would you mind if I'm doing that on the side? Now, if you tell me you're doing a small engine repair business on the side and you're dealing with four-wheelers, snowmobiles, I'm fine with that because we don't do them. Small engine repair is not confined to lawn and garden. It's not. And I'll tell you, there's more money in the four-wheelers, side-by-sides, snowmobiles, scooters than there is in lawnmowers, snowblowers, weed trimmers, chainsaws. You know, that's one way that you can get your owner, your employer to say okay. And that is do something that they aren't doing at your shop already. But you run the risk of something too, because you may run into an employer like me that says, wait a minute, you're good at X, Y, and Z. And the reason we've been turning business away because of that is because of no experience with X, Y, or Z, or more headaches than they're worth. Or I'll tell you, have at it. You know, maybe you'll get to see what I go through on a daily basis. You know, it's more than just coming to work Monday through Friday and picking up a paycheck and going home. You know, I've done that before too. And there's a lot to be said about that. You know, that once the clock, hits the end of the day, you clock out. You're not home worrying about, or you shouldn't be worrying about, what's going on at work, where the owner has to worry about it 24/7, right? If quitting time comes at 3 o'clock and there's a bunch of work still on the table, who sticks around? Especially if you have a boss that has any kind of mechanical skills. It's the boss, the owner. Because most employees don't feel like they have anything invested other than getting a paycheck. I want your thoughts on this. Because it's something you really have to be careful of. And I see it so often that it just kind of makes me scratch my head. See, there was one fella, this was probably 8-10 years ago, and he was selling steel chainsaws out of his garage. So what, right? Well, what he was doing was he was taking the saws that the employer had taken trade in and put in a scrap pile. And he was hauling them home, hauling parts from the workplace home, fixing the saws, and then reselling them on Marketplace and Craigslist. And is that right? First of all, you got theft. And I don't know of any employer or owner that's going to want you around once they find out that you took something without asking. Had he asked, it'd be something different, right? But then to take new parts off the shelf to fix the stuff that he's peddling down the road. See, they couldn't fix them in the shop because they'd have to pay, you as an owner and a boss, you have to, even though you're putting in that time, it's a labor rate that's going to kill you on fixing that saw, right? If you're charging $120 an hour and you're paying your mechanics, let's say $40, still, if you got to pay a mechanic $40 an hour, it's going to take him $2 hours to fix the saw plus parts, depending on how much parts he has to put on it. What is that saw going to be worth in the end? Whereas this guy that was taking the chainsaws and the new parts, or taking two chainsaws and making one, wasn't figuring in his labor. He was just looking at making extra income. Did he get caught up with? Yeah. Yeah. It don't take long for someone to rat you out. And most shops are like mine, in that you have peaks and valleys, all right? You, especially in the spring of the year for lawn and garden, you have a peak where everybody is trying to get their mower fixed, serviced, in and out, want a carefree summer. And then during the summer, it's just maintenance, maintaining what you have out there, right? And you'll pick up, new customers here and there, but for the most part, you had that slow period. And then you had that slow period again, usually in the wintertime, right? Where you may have a peak in the fall where people are trying to get their snow blowers ready and serviced. And then that maintenance phase throughout the winter. And what shops will do during that valley, the low point, is they will take and look in the boneyard and look at other ways to create income. And that could be anything from parting something out, selling used parts online, selling used parts to people walk-ins into the shop. It could be taking 3 machines that you have that customers didn't want to fix and making one that turns out really good. Again, you have your time involved, right? But during the valley, you don't have much going on anyways, right? So you're trying to figure out a way to keep some income coming in so you can at least meet your monthly bills. Payroll and heat, lights, whatever. So that's just one thing to look at is if you're thinking, well, they're not going to do anything with it except for scrap it out. It may work for you, but for me, even if I thought that, I still go talk to my boss or my owner and say, what are you doing with that bunch of saws? And if they say they're going to scrap it out at the, in the fall or this or that, make an offer on the lot. If you think you could take them home and get them running and sell them, and talk to them and offer a little bit more than scrap price. They may take you up on it. You never know. So that's one aspect. Here's another one that happened a few years back. And that was a mechanic working for a small engine repair shop. And they had started their own repair business on the side, working nights and weekends at it. And it wasn't known to the boss. They didn't tell the boss they were doing it. They just decided to go ahead and do it because they didn't see no harm, no foul, right? But they were thinking no harm, no foul on themselves and not to anybody else. See, that's where you got to be careful is you got to think about what everybody else part they play, right? But he had a bunch of business cards made up by, was it Vistaprint? And he was handing them out to the better customers that were coming to that shop, offering to do the same quality work at a reduced rate. And some of them went for it. But the problem with that is if you're an owner like I am, I value relationships, right? So I have a good relationship with my customers. And if they did that to me, if I had a mechanic do that at my shop, I would know within a day. Because one of my customers would come and just, what the hell's going on here? But there's shops that don't value that relationship with their customers, so they don't have that connection. So you could get away with handing your business card out for quite a while because the customer doesn't feel connected with the business owner or the business. It's just a place to get my friggin' lawnmower fixed or serviced or what have you. And if I get the same mechanic doing the same work and the same quality and I can get it for half price, and this shop doesn't care less whether I'm here or not. But that's a no-no. So I want to hear your thoughts on this. Pros and cons. Maybe you're a inspiring business owner that's working nights and weekends, and you don't see anything wrong with doing side work of what you're doing at work. And if so, explain why. Or if you're an owner-employee or owner-employer and you've had this happen to you before, how did it make you feel? What if, with you being a business owner, how would you feel? So on that note, you guys have a great Thursday, and we'll catch you here bright and early tomorrow morning to round out the week.